Yo guys, welcome back to a brand new video and another episode of my F1 2019 career mode here today, and this is round number 19 of the season and the USA Grand Prix in Austin, Texas. If you guys missed the last episode, then go watch it by clicking the link in the top right hand corner of the screen for the Mexican Grand Prix, and it was a very good race, guys, battling our title rival Max Verstappen, and crucial for the championship. If you want to see who came out on top in that battle, you can go watch the video, guys. But in terms of this one, we do have some rain expected this weekend on the race session more specifically, and in terms of upgrades, both ourselves and Racing Point actually don't bring any upgrades to this race. Red Bull improved slightly, as do Alfa Romeo in 4th place, and McLaren and Renault all staying the same as well. So it's worth noting again, just a reminder, we do have a double major engine upgrade, engine power upgrade more specifically, arriving in the next race in Brazil, and those will be our final upgrades this season. So this is going to be probably one of the last practice sessions we might ever do in this car, because we don't need the points anymore. Once we get to the next race, if the upgrades arrive and they don't foul, then we've already got enough points to kind of, buy whatever we need, really. We don't really need any more points. So this might be the last practice session you guys see in the Williams car ever in this career mode. So drink it in while it lasts. And we had a pretty good session, to be honest. Bar the qualifying performance test, we got purple and everything. And even the qualifying test itself, we only marginally just managed to get the green score. So I feel quietly confident to qualifying. I've mentioned before, USA isn't my best track. Having said that, based off of practice, I probably feel more confident than I ever have done around here, because the practice pace was good, the car was working well, and more importantly, I felt comfortable. That's a big problem. I can never seem to feel comfortable around here, regardless of the setup of the car, and I can't seem to find the right balance. But for some reason, whether it be the upgrades or the pace of the cars nowadays, with the upgrades, the car's working well. I felt confident, and I was quite happy with the balance, and I felt I could really, push the car in certain corners. So I'm looking forward to this session, and hopefully I could try and prove that the car is working well for us as we move into the first of the 3 parts of qualifying. Again, those days are numbered, as you guys might not see the 3-part qualifying for much longer in this career mode as we now move into Q1. And in this session, obviously, I try to go for one run. If I need to, I'll go for 2. But this was my first run, and you'll see here, Sector 1 already at 10th up on Verstappen, nearly 2/3 up. That was definitely my strongest sector over the entire lap. Sector 2, I'm about average with AI. I can pretty much match them, and then I'll lose a bit of time in the final sector. That's kind of like the trend around here. You can see here through Sector 2, we've lost a bit of time, but we are still up on Verstappen, and we're on for a P1 as it stands in Q1 here. And I'm pushing really hard in this lap, because in Q1 the AI tends to go very fast, so I need to try and step up the pace as we now go into Sector 3, going through the fast rights here, and now 2 more corners to go. This is kind of tricky, because the way the sunlight is in this session, you can't really see, and it makes it quite difficult to really push and 100% and get that confidence through there. And we do drop a bit of time in the final sector, more specifically about 0.5 of a second actually. We do go P7, and we would eventually go through in 12th place. So overall, we avoid any major dramas, but it was a very close qualifying. You can see there from 1st to 14th, half a second, very, very close. But, that's the kind of level we're at now. In Q2, I went out on fresh rubber, and my first lap was invalidated, unfortunately for us, and it was at the S's. So a bit of a shame, because, I was looking to start to pick up the pace and try to push a bit more, but it wasn't to be. In the end, I came back in, put a fresh set of tyres on the car, and went for my second run. And you'll see here with a minute 20 to go, I'm currently on my lap, and I made a mistake here, a bit too much gas, and I lost the back end. I was even quicker through the first sector, a 10.5 up on Perez, but if you look at the clock, at minute 10 to go, I've got just about enough fuel, I reckon, so it's going to be very, very marginal if I can get this recovered back to the start-finish for a lap. I mean, as you can see here, we crossed the line with 2 seconds left on the clock, and I've got just about enough fuel, I think, to get a lap done. So the checker flag drops, and we are going to make it. The only problem is, I didn't get a chance to cool my tyres down, so they're not in the ideal working range. They're slightly hot, on the overheating side, and they're only going to get hotter now as we go on this hot lap. So I'm concerned that towards the end of the lap we might struggle with overheating tyres, and also extra tyre wear as well, as we're going to start the race on these tyres potentially. So this is all or nothing on this lap. It's very, very important to make sure we hit it, and you can see here so far we're going pretty well. A nice tidy first sector, not the best, I was a bit more conservative because of the mistakes I'd made before in the S's, but now that was the hairpin, getting the apex beautifully there, quickly back on the power, no wheel spin whatsoever, and now we open up the DRS right about now, and using the overtake mode as Verstappen sets a 27.6, and that is a strong lap from the Red Bull driver. Checking my tyres for temperatures to make sure they're doing okay as we brake at the 50-meter board for the heavy brake zone here at the end of the back straight. Quickly back on the power, and across the second sector, we're only 4/10 down on Verstappen, so it's not too bad here. And if I can get away with this, I'll be very, very happy as we go into sector 3. Again, all about mechanical grip and having that confidence through here. I turn in a bit too early into the left hand. I get some oversteer on the exit. Tyres at this point were starting to struggle. I could feel the understeer kicking in. The front tyres weren't biting into the tarmac, and I really noticed it through this left-hander here. The front was just taking so long to work. As we now go into the final corner again, the right side of tyres were at this point just screaming as we understeer wide onto the curb, and we crossed the line, but unfortunately it's not going to be enough. And it's annoying because I did a guesstimate, and I reckon my best lap on paper would have been about 28.3, 0.2, at best maybe a 0.1. So we could have maybe just made it in, but generally speaking, I didn't quite have the pace. It kind of went away from me a bit in Q2, and I don't really know why. But Giovinazzi qualifies us. We did our best. P13 on a second run on the same tyres, which is not what you want around this circuit. And we'll have to settle for 13th place, and a disappointing Q2 knockout because it looks like Verstappen is probably going to start from the sharp end of the grid. But that is it for qualifying here at COTA, and we're now going to move into the race of round 19 for the US GP.
In 2012, America's on-again, off-again love affair with Formula One finally seemed to settle down with the completion of this wonderful racing facility here in Texas. Since then, we've been treated to some incredible races, including, of course, that classic wet-dry championship decider of 2015. We have 10 turns to the left and 10 to the right here at the fantastic Circuit of the Americas, overtaking opportunities into turn 1 and 12 at this anti-clockwise 3.6 mile track, and we should see average lap speeds of around 126 miles per hour. Anthony Davidson, thanks for joining me once again for the Grand Prix. Let's talk about Martinez. Everything's on the line here today and the title hangs in the balance. So how do you think they'll be coping with all that pressure?
I think as long as they keep their mind on the task and not its historical significance, they'll be just fine. This is a race just like any other. You do the best you can and accept that sometimes things are going to happen outside of your control. If they can approach today with that attitude, the pressure shouldn't be a problem.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Sebastian Vettel will start on pole. Fantastic qualifying from the multiple world champion, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Hamilton, Russell, Valtteri Bottas, and Perez, Gasly, Magnussen, Sainz, and Antonio Giovinazzi, Ricciardo, Martinez, Charles Leclerc, they've taken a grid penalty, and Norris, Hülkenberg, Raikkonen, Romain Grosjean, and Alexander Albon, Stroll, and Daniel Kvyat completes the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Right, here we are then on the grid for the US GP, starting from 12th place on the grid on the 6th row. Quite a way back, but we can always turn it around and make things happen on the strategy front. So there's a couple of different options in terms of what we could go for, and I'm tempted to go for various different options, and I'm going to probably adjust my strategy on the fly now because I don't really know what to do. So as you guys know, there is a chance of rain. I'm trying to be realistic here, and I would like to run the soft tyre because it's obviously the quickest tyre available, but will there be a pit stop before the rain arrives? That's why I am kind of leaning towards starting on the medium. Even though I would be struggling for pace, I think it would be the better option long term. So I'm going to take a gamble and go for the medium. Hopefully, I'm banking on the AI doing at least one pit stop in all the guys in the top 10 doing one stop at least when I was set of dry tyres, and that will hopefully put me in the race. Fuel-wise, we're going to run just 0.5 more. Not a lot more because the rain is going to arrive, therefore there's no need to be massively overweight. But yeah, overall it's important to get a good start, and let's try and at least crack into the top 10 with the current car and tyres, and we'll see how the weather conditions progress as we go into the race. With that being said though, let's jump into it. It's time to go racing. It's time for the US GP here at Austin, Texas. Right, let's try and get a good start here as we get ready for the 5 red lights, building up the revs. Lights out and away we go, and it's a good start. Not such a good second phase as usual, but the launch was okay. I'm going to try and go as late as I can on the brakes without hitting the car in front. There's a bit of debris in front of us there. That Ferrari going around the outside, making a good move there. Got Norris behind me looking for a move in the Haas. We're going to just block him off. It's Leclerc and the Ferrari who's made a good start and gained a position on the soft tyres as well. It seems like everyone's running the softs from what I can tell. Well, let's see if we can get past Leclerc here and re-overtake the Ferrari possibly. I always struggle for traction out of this one. Such an awkward corner for me to get traction down. I've got Norris looking for a move behind. I'm going to go down the inside of Leclerc. I could have gone for maybe Ricciardo as well, but it was just a bit too many cars to get past. We do get in front of Leclerc though, and take the position back that was defense on Norris, turn it into offense on Charles Leclerc. Leclerc coming back at me though. He's gaining. We're going to have to stick to the racing line. I'm going to go deep on the brakes, go quite wide, have the better racing line, get the better traction, and the better drive off the corner. And there we go. We stay in front of Leclerc. He's still trying to go on the outside, but we're just going to close that door on him, and then that's the end of that. We can get back to racing. So P12, we've not gained any places or lost any on this first lap. We've recovered quite nicely. Let's see if we can try and keep pace with the guys in front. That's the key thing here today. If I can just hang on for the first 4 or 5 laps, I'll probably come into the race and we can start to make it our own. But for now, we might be on the back foot in this initial part of the race. I want to make sure I'm at least within a second when DRS gets enabled on lap 3. That's the important thing. But let's get a head down and let's try and keep up with the Honey Badger.
Right, some information on Ricciardo. They're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car.
Okay, that's good news for us. That means we might be able to gain another position here as we start to gain on Ricciardo a little bit. Important to stay in front of Charles Leclerc though, who's still trying to hunt me down. He's got a lot of good straight line speed in that Ferrari. It's not a good car anymore, but that straight line speed's still there. I'm going to defend the inside, show him the long way round. Late on the brakes, we're going to hold it on the inside line though, beautifully. Job done. Now let's try and put some pressure on Ricciardo and potentially use Ricciardo to pull away from the cars behind. Big lock up there, got to be careful with those, but we're starting to regain a Ricciardo here who's visibly struggling. Let's turn the engine up. He could be in trouble here. Yes, he's in trouble. We're going to just slip underneath. There we go. Easy pass. And we get past Ricciardo. Green flag. Something's happened. Something happened behind us, it seems. Sebastian Vettel in the lead. That's good news for us. At least Verstappen's not out front.
Race officials have enabled DRS. DRS is now available.
There we go. DRS online. As Albon retires in the Toro Rosso. Big battles happening in front of us. Let's try and get involved and try and catch up to these guys. Giovinazzi up next. Okay, it seems like Verstappen's in the second place now. There's a Racing Point in third. Whoever's at the front of this train is not running at a great pace and they're struggling. Whether it's wing damage or whatever it may be, they're running slow. As we match our personal best, let's try and get some moves done here because there's a bit of a train here, which is good news for us in terms of our strategy this race. A lot of positions up for grabs. No word on the rain yet from Jeff, so we're going to continue doing the race as normal.
5 minutes until rainfall expected. 5 minutes until rain.
Ooh, okay, that's pretty quick to be fair. Still, we're on the right tyre, we can go forever on these, so I'm not concerned. So pretty much now we need to push because we might have a few less laps to use these tyres than I may have originally expected. So hammer down, we need to make some progress now. So let's try and get past Giovinazzi here as soon as we can because we need to gain some positions here big time. Corner cut warning, that's fine. Not really worried about that too much, especially once it rains. It's so hard to make a difference when it comes to pace and overtakes when everyone has DRS on everyone. And the reason no overtakes are happening is because it's the 2 Racing Points that are leading the train and they're probably the quickest cars on the entire grid when it comes to straight line speed. So it's hard to make some overtakes happen. But it's getting dark now really quickly here. The rain is arriving. I'm lacking a bit of traction on these mediums, I can't lie. Other than that, it is the better tyre now. We have more cornering grip. We'll get hot into turn 1. That's going to invite pressure from Leclerc, but we'll get the good exit. I just don't know where I'm going to make an overtake happen at the minute. I wonder if I could just surprise him out of nowhere, maybe get a good move out, because I just don't know what's going to happen. This would be a good spot, but I can never get the traction out of there to get a run on the inside, unfortunately. So that position on that overtake is out of the question, really. I think Verstappen's taken the lead as well, so that's not good news for us. There he has it out front. And he's set the pace 32.2. That might be the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. And the extra point going his way if it rains this race. Oh, getting a lot of dirty air there. Struggling. Just getting so much understeer now, but the pace is there. I'm going for it down the inside. It's a late move. I'm taking it. I don't even care. It's my own teammate.
We're not going to be able to run in this engine mode much longer. We're about a lap over target. Drop down to mid
some reason I had DRS, but I lost it there. I'm not sure what happened there. Bit of a glitch, and it's gone offline. Fantastic. That's exactly what we wanted. Oh man, this race is frustrating already. Losing DRS. How are we going to overtake? How the hell is that going to happen? All science pits. There we go. That's what we need.
We're expecting some rain soon. Expect the first drops in the next few minutes. A new strategy is available on the MFD. Copy.
Sebastian Vettel also pit in there as well, so we're up to 8th place now. And the rain is just starting to fall. There we go, the first raindrops are coming down. Right, we've got to time this. Important strategy decision. I'm actually quite close to Hamilton here, but I don't have DRS. It's a real shame, because look, we're actually matching him for straight line speed. I'm actually gaining a bit, even without DRS. The one car probably have a chance of overtaking. Got to be careful now though, the conditions are ginger. I'm going to try and drive more slowly and more gingerly. Brake bars towards the rear. This track bites a lot if you're not careful. But we're starting to put the pressure on now. Let's see if any more cars pit in for more dry tyres. I'm hoping they do this lap. That's my last chance to gain anything on strategy, I think. But we have got the pace now. The soft tyre runners are really struggling. And I'm visibly much quicker. Anyone else pit in? No, they don't.
Okay, be careful on those slicks. These conditions are making the line a bit greasy, but we're still nowhere near the changeover point.
Here we go then. Can we get a move on Bottas? I had a look, but weren't close enough. If I had the DRS there, I would have had him. Because my straight line speed against the Mercedes is actually decent for a change. This rain's not coming down too quickly though, so one more lap on these, definitely without a doubt. The grip's still very much on these tyres, but Hamilton's really struggling. Sorry, Bottas really struggling now. I keep saying Hamilton. Let's try and make a move, if possible. Here we go, we're pretty close actually. I might get the run down to the hairpin. Bottas moves in the brake zone. We go down the inside. We get it a bit hot, but we get the move done. With a huge lock-up, but we're through. No DRS for us, probably for Bottas, but I'm going to hope that my straight line speed is enough to keep me in front. As we move up to P7. Giovinazzi's approaching here, so we've got to be careful. I'm going to move across a little bit. Because the AI tend to dive bomb when they're going for an overtake. So we're going to protect that inside line, and there we go. Let's see if we can get some more moves done here. Gasly, Russell, and a Racing Point battling away. I mean, if that was Verstappen, it'd be fantastic, but I don't think it is him. We've got so much more pace, and it's still dry tyres. The rain's not having that much of an impact just yet. Still very much the right tyre, the Racing Point. You can see struggling now. I think it's got wing damage. Surely that's the reason for it, because it's understeering so much. Nobody else pits, it seems. Or does Giovinazzi? Oh no, my own teammate's pitting. Out of all the cars, that's the one I didn't want.
Antonio is in the pits. Antonio in the pits.
He obviously couldn't make his tyres last. That's a shame. But we're now getting quite a bit of an advantage over these guys. I need to use the mediums in these conditions, and that Racing Point's going to be slow through sector 1 through the S's. Let's see if we can make a move happen here, possibly. Oh, track's getting very gingerly now. This might be the lap. These two in front are battling away. Gasly and Perez. Looks like... No, Perez has come back here. I thought Gasly had that one done, but not quite. Perez still fighting back, even with the wing damage. Oh, he's a bit loose there. If it was completely dry, I would have gone for it there, but I just don't have the grip in these conditions. We've got to be careful. But here we are behind Perez then. Let's see if we can make a move. He's going to be struggling so much for grip now. He runs a bit wide. That's the invitation we need. As we go around the outside. Yes, we do. There we go. More cars pit. Verstappen pits. It's still dry tyres. It's not quite inters just yet. Let's see what tyre Verstappen's gone for. He's leaving the pit exit now. He's on mediums. So there you go. Verstappen leaving the pit exit right now. He's right behind us. So all in all, the strategy has worked out. What we need now is the rain to really come down and we go for the intermediates. But we're P4. This is looking good. I should have the advantage on Gasly and also Russell on these tyres. So let's try and close them down. Oh, we're getting loose there. Big time. Verstappen's on the back of us now. He's starting to put the pressure on. As George Russell pits along with Kevin Magnussen, so Gasly is the only car staying out on the soft tyres. Surely he can't go much longer.
The tyre situation is pretty touch and go right now. The slicks may still be quicker, but it's very close, and you're going to struggle to keep them in the temperature window. The Inters are ready when you need them.
Verstappen goes around the outside there. He left me no room on the apex, but he makes the move and takes position.
Antonio is coming in for his stop.
Giovinazzi pits again, which tells me it's probably time for the intermediate. So we're going to box this lap for Inters. We just got to try and cruise. Verstappen will get stuck behind Gasly, I think, so we'll get a chance to stick with him. But we're in the race, that's all we wanted.
MFD for a new strategy option. Copy that.
Yeah, this was definitely the last lap was the one. I should have pit in. I had a gut feeling and I didn't obey by it. I should have gone into the pit lane. I've got DRS back though. A bit too late for that, but still we got it anyway. It might just help me stay in front of Sebastian Vettel, who's gaining behind us here. Here we go. Can we stay in front of the Ferrari? We've got the juice on the straight. Easy on the brakes, let's not overdo it. Track is very delicate. Sebastian on the switchback, but he doesn't find it.
Box this lap, please.
Yeah, we will box this lap. So here, guys, he's benefited massively from the strategy, as have I. If I can speak English, right? I'm having to concentrate so much now. The track feels horrible. Let's ease it back to the pits. Verstappen's right there though. It's in our hands, and even if I lose a few points to him, that's fine. That's not an issue. I've put myself into contention though. So here we go. Into the pit lane we go. Grip is so poor. Let's not overdo it here because we can easily hit the wall. Now slow it down, do not speed. Right, job done. Onto the Inters we go. Giovinazzi's already done his stop, so he won't lose any time and he can just push on with fresh Inters. Verstappen might get held up a little bit possibly, we'll see, but either way, we need a good stop from the boys. Very important. There we go. 2 second stop. We rejoin in front of Sebastian Vettel, and Gasly, crucially, is still in front.
After these tyres now, we want to finish the race on this compound.
And crucially, Gasly is still in front of Max Verstappen as well. So everything's worked out okay. Now we've got to try and find some pace in these tyres. I tend to be slower on the Inters when the track's quite dry. I'm better on the Inters when the track's more on the full wet side of things. So I'm kind of hoping the rain falls a little bit more, to be honest. Track doesn't quite feel fully Inters just yet. Dare I say, my tyres will probably be overheating in a minute. Giovinazzi in the pits again.
Antonio is coming in for his stop.
Not sure what's going on there. He must have glitched out probably. Really, really strange. As Verstappen now is going for a move on Gasly here. This is important. Of course, for the championship, it means 7 more points or 8 more points with the fastest lap go Verstappen's way. So we need Gasly to hold on here. I don't quite have the pace on them. I'm quicker than Sebastian Vettel, but I'm not quicker than the guys in front.
Antonio is in the pits. Antonio in the pits.
Giovinazzi's definitely glitched out. He's just glitched out. Of course, my teammate has to glitch out. Out of all the cars in the grid, my teammate. Okay, it's now gone to kind of more heavy rain, and we're starting to fly. I'm now closer to Gasly than what Sebastian is to me. I'm starting to come alive as well. The tyres are not overheating, so I can start to push, and it's making a difference. I've got pace. If I can get Gasly and finish second, I'd be very happy because it limits the damage, and Verstappen doesn't pull away that much in terms of the championship. So, or should I say, catches up that much in terms of the championship. So, let's try and get off the Pierre. This could be awkward. Giovinazzi and Gasly right on the apex of turn 1. Hopefully Gio moves out of my way before the S's. Oh, there we go. Get out of the way. Let's push on. Gasly's close. I can smell it. I see a P2 at least. The rain's really coming down now. Could be full wet soon at this rate.
Heavy rain will pass in 5 minutes and will be replaced by light rain conditions.
There we go then. I am going to try and go Inters to the end, whereas the AR might pit, although if they are, they're going to probably pit this lap or the next lap. So let's keep our eyes peeled, but we're going to the end on these without a doubt. I've got to try and use this heavy rain period to get past Gasly though, because this is when I'm going to have more pace. So let's try and close in on him a bit more if we can. I'm struggling to make up this last bit of the gap, which is about a second. Trying to burn the rear tyres on there to make up some ground on Gasly. Kind of worked. So we put ourselves right on the back of him here. If we can get a good bit of traction, I might have a chance here. We're close enough. Here we go. This could be the chance we need. No DRS, of course. I can see Gasly's harvesting energy though. We're not really gaining that much on the straight. That's a shame. We just again lack straight line speed. If that was the next race with the engine upgrades, we'll probably do a lot more damage, but we're still on his gearbox here. We might have a chance through this section. In the wet, it's a different story. I tend to have a bit more grip than the AI in certain places. Not necessarily traction, but mid-corner and corner entry. Gasly on the back foot here. I might have a chance. Aarava Verstappen trying to look down the inside there. Didn't quite work out for us. Let's keep the pressure on him though. Here we go, we're close again. Good exit over the hill. If I can get even closer on the exit here, that would be better. Much more aggressive mid-corner to the apex. Here we go. I think I'm a little bit closer this time. We're gaining. Gasly's definitely saving energy this time because I can see his lights on his end plates are flashing. Here we go, around the outside. Late on the brakes. Bit of a lock up, but we keep it under control. Around the outside all the way. Inside for the next one. Don't overcook it. There we go. Close the door. Don't invite the switchback. And job done. Right, we're past Gasly. Could we catch Verstappen? Do I have the pace? I don't think I do. Verstappen's quite a way up the road. Let's see now in clean air if we have any pace or not on these tyres. 4.2 is the gap. 6 laps to go. It's a massive mountain to climb. Can I climb it? I'm flying now. I'm really going for this. Gap in this lap has come down from 3.5 to 2.8, but only 2 laps to go. I think we're going to run out of laps, unfortunately, and I'm running out of VRS as well. Here we go then, into the final sector now. Verstappen's picked up the pace. The AI, as they always do the last 2 laps, they're coded to try and pick up the first lap of the Grand Prix, so they always pick up the pace. Also, I've given it everything, and I've kind of run out of my tyres now, and I've run out of fuel in the RS, so we'll take second place. It means the gap will go down, I believe, from 24 to 16 points. And if this result repeats itself for the next 2 races, I believe we'll win the championship on race wins, but I'm not 100% certain on that. I'll have to check it after the race, but either way, it's going to go down to the wire. It's going to be close, but we go for the final corner. Checker flag waves. Verstappen wins here today in USA, and we come home for a really good second place.
Great drive, great drive. We're really happy with that performance.
Red Bull pulling out all the stops today. What a great win. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, they clearly have a car that comes alive in the kind of conditions we were dealing with today. It's a very balanced package in the wet, and what that means is that the drivers had confidence to attack. And having that confidence gets you on the power earlier, it lets you brake later, and can put you a long way up the road.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently. It's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be proud of the victory they secured here.
You really cut your way through the field today. What was your strategy? Everything went your way today. It looked like you had a really good strategy for the race. It's looking like the championship is already won. Do you think there's still time for this to change? Things looked close between you and your rival for a bit, but you came out on top, didn't you? Appreciate your time.
Right, so looking at the final race results, Max Verstappen wins the US GP and also picks up the extra point for the fastest lap. So 8 points in his favour for the championship fight. We come home second, and damage limitation pretty much here today from a 12th to second place, the best we could have done. Pierre Gasly P3, and he scores the final podium slot. Happy to see him do well in Alfa Romeo. Sebastian Vettel P4 for Ferrari, and those are some big points for the team that is now really struggling in terms of performance. Kevin Magnussen P5 for Racing Point, a miserable day in the office for them, with Bottas in P6 ahead of Carlos Sainz, Leclerc, Norris and Kvyat scoring the final point, with Russell missing out on the points today along with Stroll, Perez down in 13th, Hulkenberg, Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Hamilton, Grosjean, Giovinazzi, who did 6 pit stops in that race, which I'm not really sure what happened there. That must have been some kind of glitch. And Alexander Albon, the only retirement of the Grand Prix here today. In terms of what that means for the standings, you can see that we are 16 points clear, so by math it was indeed correct, as we have 2 races remaining. So it's going to be close. The next 2 races, again, they don't suit me. It's going to be damage limitation again. And the best we can hope for is for Verstappen to not win one of those races, So I'm kind of relying on Racing Point, really, to make something happen. More specifically, Perez, maybe Abu Dhabi possibly. But, overall, Giovinazzi still 11th outside the top 10. Gasly now well into the top 8 in terms of his championship, moving to Alfa Romeo has worked out beautifully for him. And in terms of the constructors, we're into 3rd place. And mathematically now that is over. And we can mathematically still get 2nd by 2 points, but it's not going to happen. So 3rd place for us this season, disappointing really. I was hoping to get the constructors really, but it hasn't quite worked out. The lack of a second driver and a teammate, consistency is just not being there. And if they're no fault of my own, really, I've maximised the points and I've scored the majority of the points for the team. Red Bull look good to wrap it up, though, in the next race in Brazil if they outscore Racing Point. But yeah, guys, that is going to be it for this race here today. And we've got 2 big upgrades on the way next race. Fingers crossed, I'm praying they arrive and nothing happens because they're big upgrades. If you guys enjoyed this video, though, drop a like and also get subscribed if you are new, guys, for daily Formula 1 content. And also turn on notifications to not miss any videos from me. And also finally check out these 2 videos, guys, on your screen if you have missed them. But that's it from me, guys, here today. And I'll see you on my next episode very soon at Brazil for the penultimate race of Season 3. But until then, it's goodbye from me.